icy and strong, just like my heart. Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Heather, and as always, I'm reading with a vengeance, and I hope you are as well. Huge thanks to all you OGs who keep coming back, and if you're new here, very warm welcome to you. I hope everybody is doing very well. How is everybody's reading going? I think I'm doing okay considering everything that we got going on here. I just found out this morning that we will not get our furniture until the very end of the month, so the 30th or 31st. So a little bit more of a camping lifestyle, a little glamping lifestyle, but you know, it's only one more week. We can do it. Just to let you all know that Zoe is still on the mend. She's doing great. And I want to thank you all for your warm well wishes. I really, really appreciate it. And everybody who just kind of backed me up for me being me. And if you know, you know. So thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you here. So today is one of my favorite videos that I do, and that is talk about upcoming new releases. And I'm going to be talking about some books that I particularly am excited about that are coming out in April 2023. Normally, I like to keep it around 5, but today I have an extra one, so I have 6 books to talk to you about today, and I'm just really, really excited for them to come out. So just to throw out a couple of books that are coming out that everybody is talking about, we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. Emily Henry is a huge Booktube darling, and anytime she's got something new coming out, everybody's always talking about it, right? TJ Klune also has a new one coming out, In the Lives of Puppets. That's coming out in April. I'm sure a lot of people are talking about that, and a lot of people are excited about that one. And Sally Hepworth has a new one coming out in April called The Soulmate that a lot of people are talking about. So those are 3 that I think a lot of people are talking about. Hopefully the 6 books I'm going to talk to you about today are ones that maybe haven't come up on your radar yet, or you haven't heard a lot of talk about, but I'm really excited about them. And I keep saying that. Let's talk about the books. The first one I want to talk about is Homecoming by Kate Morton. Now, Kate Morton is a fairly popular author. I've only read one book by her. I read The Lake House, which I think I liked okay. I think I gave it 3 stars, but I haven't really read much of anything else. But when I saw the synopsis, I thought this one looks really good. So this one is a little bit of a chunker. It's 560 pages. And it looks like it is historical fiction mixed with mystery thriller. So those are 2 of my favorite genres. Another thing this has got going for it that excited me is that it takes place in Australia. There's something about books that take place in Australia that I just absolutely love. So I think this one opens up on Christmas Eve in 1959, and a local man finds, I believe, a body, makes a terrible discovery. I'm guessing it's a body, and it turns out to be a rather notorious murder investigation, I think, that never gets solved. Then you come to present day and you're following Jess, who is a journalist. She's living in London. She's been laid off from her job and she's struggling to make ends meet when out of nowhere she gets a phone call that calls her back to Sydney, where her grandmother is struggling health-wise. So Jess goes back to Sydney and she ends up staying in her grandmother's house, and she starts, I guess, kind of doing some digging like journalists do. She's cleaning up and she discovers a true crime book, and this true crime book covers that first investigation from 1959. And what she discovers is that there's a connection from that crime that leads to her family. So this one sounds like a really good one to me. It's something that I could totally immerse myself in. We got a mystery going on. It spans generations. We're talking about motherhood and the things that we do for our family, the things that we do for the people that we love, the things that we do to protect, lies that we tell, and of course that special gem that I love so much, family secrets. Kate Morton's Homecoming comes out April 13th. Next up, we have The House is on Fire by Rachel Beanland. Now, Rachel Beanland is the author of Florence Adler Swims Forever. I haven't read that one yet, but it is on my TBR. So this is about your average length novel. It's only about 384 pages. We have another historical fiction here with, I think, a little bit of a mystery involved. This one takes place in Richmond, Virginia in the early 1800s. It's at the height of winter social season, and there is a very popular theater company that puts on 2 plays a night, and it is the place to be for the Richmond Society. And this particular story follows 4 characters. We have Sally, who has newly been widowed, and she is basically seeking anything that kind of takes her mind off the sadness and grief of losing her husband. So she's at the theater. We also have Cecily, who doesn't give a hoot about the play that's going on. She's there for different reasons, but she's there also to take her mind off some things that are going on in her life that has turned her life upside down. And then we have Jack, who is a stagehand who is looking to impress his bosses with the theater company in hopes to get offered a permanent job. And finally, we have Gilbert, who is the town blacksmith. He's not at the play, but he longs for a day where he can bring his wife to the theater, which is her lifelong dream, but he has to buy her freedom first. So we have these 4 characters, and on the night of a show, the day after Christmas, funnily enough, the theater goes up in flames, and it's in the middle of a performance, and all 4 of these characters make split-second decisions that not only affect their own lives, but basically everybody who is at the theater that night. As the news of the fire spreads across the country, the lives of Sally and Cecily, Jack and Gilbert become intertwined. I think this is going to be a story about redemption and the effect that our decisions that we make have on other people, not just ourselves. And I think it's going to be a really, really interesting story. Rachel Beelan's The House is on Fire comes out April 4th. Next up is Before We Were Innocent by Ella Berman. Ella Berman has one other novel. I have not read this author, but so she's new to me. It's another one with an average page count. This also has 384 pages. This is a mystery thriller. In this one, we're following 3 best girlfriends. We have Bess, Johnny, and Evangeline. 10 years ago, they go to Greece to spend the summer together. Only 2 of them leave alive. Bess and Johnny are cleared of any involvement in Evangeline's death, but Evangeline's death becomes a worldwide media frenzy. In the 10 years from Evangeline's death, Johnny and Bess go in separate directions. Johnny becomes a motivational speaker, kind of capitalizing on her infamy that she received from Evangeline's death. Bess, on the other hand, kind of goes underground and leads a small, controlled life. But one day, Johnny finds herself in a similar situation to that of Evangeline's death and asks Bess to come back to LA to help her get through whatever's going on with Johnny. Bess has a really big decision to make. She doesn't want to go and face things that she or Johnny didn't face when Evangeline died. So again, I think we're dealing with secrets and lies told and decisions that we make. And again, what really attracted me to this story is we've got these best friends who love each other and they do everything together, and then tragedy strikes, and how do you deal with that, especially when maybe one is responsible? There's trust that's in the balance, and I'm super intrigued to see how this one goes. Ella Berman's Before We Were Innocent comes out April 4th. The next one I am really, really excited about. We have Small Mercies by Dennis Lehane. Now, Dennis Lehane also wrote Mystic River. He also wrote Shutter Island. He is just a really, really good storyteller. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This one also combines historical fiction with his typical mystery thriller. This one's got a good page length. It's 320 pages. This one takes place in the summer of 1974 in Boston, which is one of my favorite towns. We're following Mary Pat, and she is what's known as a Southie. She lives in the part of Boston that a lot of Irish Americans live in, and she is struggling to make ends meet. One night, Mary Pat's daughter Jules doesn't come home, and on the same night, a young black man is found dead, being hit by, I believe, a subway train, but there are mysterious circumstances involved. These 2 events, they seem connected, but Mary Pat is desperate to find her missing daughter, and she starts to ask questions, and she's asking questions in dangerous places, specifically the Irish mob. You're dealing with a heat wave going on in the early 70s where desegregation is going on. There's violence surrounding race activism. This one, I think, is going to be a page turner. I can't wait for this one. Dennis Lehane's Small Mercies comes out April 25th. Next up is Sea Change by Gina Chung. I'm super excited about this one for a number of reasons. This is a debut novel, and I'm always excited about debut novels. Gina Chung is a Korean-American author out of New Jersey. I believe she currently lives in New York. Sea Change is literary fiction with a touch of fantasy. And it's a shorter novel. It's 288 pages. I'm going to tell you what it's about, and it's probably going to sound familiar to a super popular book. Let's see if we can guess what that book is. Nevertheless, when I read the synopsis, I was super intrigued, and I am excited about this one. In Sea Change, we're following Ro, and Ro is in a rut. She is newly in her 30s. She's estranged from her mom. Her boyfriend has left her. Her best friend is kind of distancing herself because she's getting ready to get married. Ro is dragging herself to her menial job at a local mall aquarium. She basically just spends her nights at home drinking alone. But when she's at work, she spends her days with a giant Pacific octopus named Dolores. Sounding familiar to anybody? But Dolores is Ro's last remaining link to her father, who was a marine biologist who disappeared on an expedition when Ro was a teenager. And one day, Dolores is sold to a wealthy investor and is taken away, and Ro kind of spirals into despair. And I think this story is more about Ro coming to terms with her history, with her family, and finding out who she is and where she wants to go in life. This is going to be a story about heartbreak and loss and how we make our way through all of that. Now, I know this sounds a lot like Shelby Van Pelt's Remarkably Bright Creatures, but I think this one's going to sit apart from that one. Either way, I'm always excited about a book that has to do with human relationships with the animal kingdom. So a little bit of a cheat here. I think when I first saw Sea Change, it wasn't scheduled to come out until April, but I think it's actually going to be coming out March 28th. So a little bit of an early one for you. The final book that I'm super excited to come out in April is The Eden Test by Adam Sternberg. Now, I don't know a lot about Adam Sternberg. He's a new to me author. I believe he's Canadian, but now lives in the United States. The Eden Test is a mystery thriller. It's at a sweet spot for me as far as page count goes at 336 pages. So what the Eden Test is in this book is a week-long getaway for married couples who need a fresh start. And this book follows Daisy and Craig, whose marriage is on the brink of disaster. So Daisy has signed them up for the Eden Test. Craig isn't so eager to save their marriage. He's on the verge of leaving Daisy for another woman, but somehow Daisy gets Craig to go on this retreat with her. So they go on this getaway, and it starts off peaceful, surrounded by natural beauty, solitude, maybe a little bit of connecting. But part of the retreat is that they're asked 7 questions, and the answer to these questions is what's used to kind of draw them out and try to figure out what's going wrong with their marriage. But secrets start to come up. Craig is starting to learn that Daisy is a very clever actress, and she has a burner phone, and she's getting mysterious texts. And as the week progresses, it looks like it's becoming more and more than what they bargained for as secrets come up, tensions rise. I think it's going to be one of those stories that just, you have this impending sense of dread, like, who's the bad guy here? What's going to happen? How is this going to end? So with its relatively short length and subject matter, I think it's going to be one of those really quick weekend reads where it's just going to be unputdownable. Adam Sternberg's The Eden Test comes out April 25th. So that is it. Those are the books that I am super excited to come out in April 2023. Do any of these sound good to you? What books have you heard about that you're super excited to come out soon? I would love to hear about it, or you can just say hi down in the doodly-doo. If you're still watching at this point, please consider giving that like button a boop, and a subscribe would be wonderful. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.